Good morning again, should I say, excuse me, good afternoon, Knicks Nation. Today is Tuesday, the 28th day of July, 2026. I hope you're all safe and healthy. I hope your family is safe and healthy and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met today. Blessings upon those that work in the area of health, along with first responders doing what they can to save lives, those also that pick up garbage to keep our places clean, and those that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover teenagers and children, victims of child molestation and pedophilia, those helping the victims of prostitution, child prostitution, pornography, child pornography, human trafficking, and sex slavery. Double curses on the perpetrators, profiteers, and perverts that create demands that cause these industries to exist. Finally, double blessings on the homeless. More than 700,000 men, women, children, families, senior citizens, military veterans, homeless in the United States of America. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. So there's a lot of information, or should I say misinformation, that flows through the internet about the Knicks. Well, about sports in general and about politics and everything, but we're talking today about the Knicks. And with that, people bring me confusing information. But yesterday I didn't help myself, because some people out here, there's always those that want to spell things right, and then there's those that think they're correcting you about something and they don't know what the hell they're talking about, and there's always those people, they're annoying. But yesterday I mentioned, when I talked about Moussa Cisse, I mentioned draft capital, and boy, they can't draft him, they can't trade him. Oh my God. The point is, and this is what most people miss trying to correct, the point is that Cece can still be acquired by the Knicks with certain circumstances. Please catch the point. That's the point. Why? Well, I'm going to put in the description box of this video, the Yahoo Sports put an expected rotation for the Dallas Mavericks. And if you look at it, it's going to have Irving, Kyrie starting, Max Christie, Cooper Flagg, PJ Washington, Dereck Lively, who I mentioned probably would start. Front court depth, Daniel Gafford, Naji Marshall, Zaccharie, Risacher, Santi, Aldama, and Mo Johnson, who they just drafted. And of course, backcourt depth, Klay, Thompson, Marcus Sasser, Sergio Dalleria. They have these people. One name is missing. It's Cece. Now, I had another guy say, well, there's no way he would clear waivers. Just the other day, Contavious Caldwell-Pope, and this is how it usually works for that same person that brought that BS. Contavious Caldwell-Pope received the buyout. And once he cleared waivers, he was going to sign with the Sixers. So why wouldn't any other team pick him up? Because he's declared already through his agent he's going to sign with the Sixers. That's why no other team would pick him up, because he wouldn't sign with them as a free agent. The same with Cece. He just signed with the Knicks, and it was matched. And if he gets waived, he'll go back and sign with the Knicks. That's how the Knicks would acquire him. Okay? Everybody got that? So I hate to keep bringing up Cece because I feel like I'm talking about it too much, but with all the confusion, I wanted to make this clear. So they cannot trade for him, but they can still get him, that is the Knicks can, if he gets waived. He could get waived because first of all, there's the people I just mentioned, which are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 guys. Then you just have him sitting on the bench and paying him $2 million. Or you can waive him, or they can include him in a trade. Now, some other news came out yesterday out of Dallas, and as you could tell, I'm watching Dallas very closely. Dwight Powell, who's 35, maybe older, but he wants to come back and finish his career in Dallas. He's the longest tenured Maverick. And that would take up another space, and he's a center. Okay, so you still, right now, in their front court depth, you have at least 3 centers. And then there's Aldama, who plays the 4 and the 5. But you have Mo Johnson, who they just drafted. You have Daniel Gafford and Dereck Lively. See, you have those. Then if you got Powell, you have a 4th one. Then you got Cece, you got a 5th one. So, like I said, very few teams wants to keep more than 3 centers. Okay? Sometimes they might keep a 4th, but it's very rare. Usually they keep 3 and maybe have a G leaguer that they can call on, okay? A 2-way. And now, so I still think there's a strong possibility. Now, Zaccharie has got to do something with Cece before he starts paying him. He can be waived, and the Knicks can get him, okay? So we'll see how that works out, okay? But it's still a possibility. That's the point I'm making here, that the Knicks can obtain him, and I keep mentioning him because he would be perfect for what we need in New York. Like I said, Dallas apparently is ready to pay Daniel Gafford $54 million to come off the bench behind Dereck Lively, who they're now in negotiations for a rookie extension. Okay, so, and then they just drafted Mo Johnson Jr., so they're going to pay these guys and they're going to play them. Okay, Aldama can play the 5, but he's mostly a 4, when he was in Memphis. So he's going to do both. But my eye is on Cece. That's why I keep looking at Dallas, because I'm watching to see what happens here. And then yesterday I mentioned, along with this, I mentioned that Charlotte is very much still in play, because we know the Knicks are talking to them behind the scenes. We'll see what ends up happening. But the Don's going to have several options. And please stop sending me, look at this player and look at that player. I'm not a scout for the Knicks. I can sometimes tell you who they're looking at. Like when I told you they were going to be looking at Yves Missi, and I told you they're going to be looking at Diawara, and they were. But I'm not a scout for the Knicks. I don't scout players to say that maybe they get there unless it's draft time or unless somebody's available. The Don knows what he's doing. Period. They don't need you and I scouting for them. If you see somebody that they find interesting, believe me, they already saw him. Okay? And if they're good enough, believe me, they will go after him. They keep everything close to the vest, which again, what I love about this Knicks front office, one of the many things, they don't let stuff out. So I didn't even, really, I looked at Cece, but I was thinking Diawara and Missi and Dembona, as I mentioned before, which I still think, depending on what Philly's going to do, I still like Bona, but that's another subject. But the Knicks are always keeping everything. When they went and got Hartenstein, I was not expecting that. He wasn't even on my radar, and he turned out to be a really good pickup for the Knicks. And they signed him to a 2-year deal, which is why they could not keep him. And now he's Oklahoma City Thunder and a former NBA champion. He's got his ring. So the Knicks front office, the brain trust, keeps everything close to the vest. Anybody bringing out rumors did not get it from them, and it's not reliable unless it's coming from Ian Begley or Shams. Other than that, nobody knows what's going on. I'm just telling you that I felt like they were going to be in the mix for Missi and Diawara, and they are. And out of nowhere came Cece. And the reason I'm so impressed with it is because not only did it come out of nowhere, but they signed him as a restricted free agent without giving up any draft capital or anything. So that's still a possibility if he gets waived. And of course, I mentioned, I think Charlotte is more interested in Tyler Kolek than they would be in Daddier because of their needs, their needs. Now, actually, Dallas has Marcus Sasser and Sergio De La Rey. I don't know how good a player De La Rey is. Sasser is good. He comes from Detroit. So you're talking about point guards. Again, that would be something, I don't know what we would be trading with Dallas for. As you already mentioned, they're not doing it for Cece. But there's nothing else on their roster that I can see that they'd be making available to help the Knicks, especially not Moussa Cisse. So I don't think that's the case. But Charlotte is still a possibility. So we will see what happens. But right now, my eyes are still on Cece and I want to see what Dallas does as we go into training camp, because that's what we're dealing with now. The Knicks are now getting into training camp mode. In fact, they're not the only team. You see LeBron working with Maxey, and we see different guys, Kyrie. Everybody's now getting into the mode to get ready. Everybody's really motivated to beat the Knicks. Okay, everybody, the whole league, they're very motivated to try to beat the Knicks. And of course, as I mentioned, the Knicks have certain elements that are very difficult for anybody to deal with, namely Cat. So, and the continuity that they share, that's been mentioned many times. So everybody knows who their starting five is. Pretty much everybody knows who their bench rotation is, and you still can't do anything about it. It's hard to game plan against the bench when you're talking about the possibility of JC, Shamet, Deuce, and you don't even know what to expect from Diawara. It's hard to game plan for any of them, and that's one of the secrets of the Knicks' success last year, because you had Alvarado come out of nowhere, you had Clarkson come out of nowhere, you had Deuce come out. Deuce pretty much single-handedly eliminated Philly in the closeout game with 7 threes. But then you had Shamet do some things. Then you had Alvarado pretty much won a game against San Antonio. So any of those guys could go off anytime, and it's hard to game plan for them because it's a wild card, the Knicks bench, and it's strong. So that is a big plus for the Knicks. So we'll see going forward with the Mobbdeep. And again, if we can get a Cece or a Diabate or somebody in that ilk, that'll make the Knicks very formidable going into this 26-27 season. So we'll see. I'm just waiting to see what Leon Rose does. And I know he's going to do something. So I'm just waiting to see what it is right now. In the meantime, sit tight. Please stop sending me names of players I should look at, especially in this situation. The Knicks got the guys they want to look at. And I'm sure they're going to pick a good one. So we'll see. In the meantime, enjoy your Tuesday. Be safe in your summer. Shalom.